I am right now on the eastern seashore of the US in a beautiful barrier island. This area is known for its wild horses. Well, feral horses to be technically accurate. This area also has a very unique NASA facility. It has some amazing pristine beaches, a wide variety of wildlife. It also boasts a very unique history, especially around the Civil War. We're going to spend the next 2 days with a pretty big family, and I'm going to try to show you as much as I can of this pristine and this amazing Chincoteague and the Assateague Islands on the coast of Maryland. Let's go. Okay, let's start at the end. A couple of things which we realized after staying here for a few days. First, this house which we are at, which is built on stilts, this thing moves slightly, but it does move. The first couple of times it moved, I was debating whether I'm drunk or there is an earthquake, and when I did validate that neither of those two are happening, that left the only other possibility that this whole thing moves, and it kept on happening a few times a day, every day. Number two, this water body which we are on, this has a lot of fishes, which is fine, but these fishes for some reason come to life in the night. So like at 9 or 10 p.m. there is an absolute riot of fishes which happens here. Like right now this is such a calm water body. In the night there's like fishes jumping, making noises. It was an absolute hoot. Finally, this town has some amazing names of roads. There's a road nearby called the Chicken Run Road. Then there is one called Deep Hole Road, and a whole bunch of others. Whoever was responsible for naming roads in this town had a lot of fun. With that, let's go. Now, this is beautiful beach is actually situated very close to the marshland where all the ponies live. Let me kind of turn around so that you can see what I'm talking about. So right over there is a small trail which takes us to where all the ponies live. So that's the marshland, there is a bay over there, and then this takes us back to the mainland or towards the Chincoteague Island. So we are on this beautiful boardwalk which connects from the ocean over there, and then it goes all the way to the visitor center over there. Now on this boardwalk we are going to find a lot of those fiddler crabs, these tiny itty bitty crabs, and we see them all around. But this is also the first time we are coming super close to the marshland where all the birds and supposedly the ponies should also be. And that bay, this is a very shallow bay, and this has an amazing array of wildlife including sharks which comes and visit these waters. Now, no visit to a national park property is complete without visiting a visitor center. We are there right now. This is a small but mighty visitor center very close to the beach, and right opposite to that is at marshland, and there we can see a whole bunch of egrets who are trying to hunt down fish or clams. And this board here says that there's a lot of like mussels and clams which kind of sticks itself below those grasses, and which leads to a bird buffet all over this place. So I am in the NASA Wallops Flight Facility, which is right outside of the Chincoteague Island. Let me turn around and see some of those rockets which I see over there. The NASA Wallops is a very interesting facility. From here they have done over 16,000 rocket launches since its inception in the year 1945. We see obviously a lot of rockets, as you see over here, which goes up from smaller rockets to rockets which support interplanetary missions. But this is also one of the very few NASA facilities, I think maybe the only NASA facility, which has a full-blown aircraft launch ability. So there's a huge runway. So a lot of the research aircrafts also goes up from here. There's a lot of sounding rockets which goes up. So all in all, this is kind of a one of a one. In the year 1962, this helped with this rocket called Little Joe rockets, helped send some of the first monkeys to space, which then eventually paved the road for Neil Armstrong to go to the moon. Now we are visiting the visitor center over there. If we were lucky, we could have seen some of the rocket launches, but the day we are visiting, there is no rocket launch. So unfortunately, we will not be able to see that. One word of caution if you end up visiting, wear a lot of bug spray. The bugs are absolutely killing me. So I need to go in. See you in a bit. Now if you are not from the east and you have heard the name Chincoteague, that's probably because you have read the book Mystery of Chincoteague. So Chincoteague is known for its feral horses, not the wild horses. We'll talk about the history and how the horses came here a little bit later, but for now my hunt for the horses are on, or the ponies are on. We haven't found any. I have been here on this island now a few hours. We have gone to a couple of pony lookout places. We haven't seen any. So we are right now outside the museum of Chincoteague, where it says that we should be able to see Misty right around here. Looks like a very promising spot. I don't see Misty anywhere. So this morning we are at the harbor and we are going to get on the Barnacle Billy's, which is a boat tour operator. So our all hope is on him. Try to go and find Misty or some of our friends. Let's see if we catch any luck today. Now, we kind of booked the boat ride at the last minute, so we did not have a whole lot of options. We though called quite a few boat ride companies, and many of them were either smaller boats, they were not covered or not suitable for kids and things like that. We had I have a 3-year-old with me, so we had to go and find a boat which is more family friendly and stable with a cover and things like that. That's why we ended up here. Now the starting of the ride was with a bang. Within like 15 minutes of getting out of the harbor, we encountered a whole bunch of dolphins over there, and the boat captain did a fantastic job of sort of bringing us very close to the dolphins, so we could just stand there. I mean, we were stranded there for, I would say, like a good 10 to 15 minutes just watching the dolphins play. There were like a number of dolphins as far as sort of eyes can go, and obviously that was the highlight of the whole trip as far at least my kids and my parents were concerned. After the dolphins, the boats kind of enter into a more open water and it sort of heads towards the channels and where we'll go under the bridge. We obviously come very close to the shore and you kind of see an amazing view of the island from the water. We also cross by one of the largest, if not the largest, RV park in the eastern seaboard, and you can see on the left, that thing is just massive. Now we are finally at the pinnacle of our journey, the creme de la creme, the moment we have been waiting for. The ponies. Where are they? They are really far off below the trees. If you have a really powerful binocular, you can kind of see them. Yeah, after a lot of time, money and effort, that's the best view of the ponies we could see, at least on this ride. Anyways, moving on. We could not see the ponies, but these things which you see on the right hand side, the small black thingies, those are like shellfish farming. So yeah, we saw some shellfishes, and finally we are right under the bridge, which we have been crossing already like 10 times in the last 2 days. So yeah, that was pretty interesting. You sort of go under the bridge and the boat sort of goes on the other side, and then it kind of turns back in. So this is pretty much as far as inland the boat goes. And on the way back, we were able to see some more dolphins once again. All in all, a 2 hour sort of action packed boat ride. The next stop is the Lighthouse Trail. This is a quarter of a mile trail which takes us to the Assateague Island Lighthouse. The original lighthouse was established here in the year 1833, but then it broke down, and finally the lighthouse which we are going to see now, that opened in the year 1867. In this lighthouse there are 2000 watt lamps which sort of blinks every 5 seconds, which is visible for 19 miles. I have seen at one place it says 22 miles, but from very far off. And that is like a unique signature of this lighthouse. So every lighthouse has its own unique signature. So if you are lost at sea and you know which lighthouse had what signature, you can identify where you are based on that lighthouse. There has been a lot of shipwrecks off the coast of Assateague Island, and that's why a lighthouse was established almost 150 years back. Now, one thing which I found very interesting was that when this lighthouse was built many hundreds of years back, it used to be right on the water. Over those next 2 centuries, due to sand deposit, this barrier island kind of grew, and it sort of grew around the lighthouse, and the lighthouse eventually is in its today's place, which is kind of quite inland, which at first glance stands very weird. Like, why is the lighthouse so inland? And that's why. Hi, how are you doing?
Where'd your mom go off to? Hold on, guys, take a break. I know.
Well, after like an uneventful sort of 175 steps, which from the ground I thought will be a lot more intimidating than it actually was, we are finally at the top, and we can see an amazing view. The ocean is far at the top. We could see where we were riding the boat a little while back, an amazing canopy of forest, and sort of the whole landscape opens up in front of you, and you see what Chincoteague and Assateague is all about. So we are back at the Assateague National Seashore at like 10 o'clock in the night, because this is a dark sky park and today is a beautiful and a clear night. So we are out here trying to see some stars, hopefully some comets, and that lighthouse which when I say is full glory behind us. So it's morning on day 3, and today we are kayaking. We are staying on this beautiful canal which kind of leads to the bay over there, and there is no better way to start the morning than a little bit of a kayak. Well, the first question comes to mind when you are doing Chincoteague is, why is this place called Chincoteague? All the beaches around it are called like Ocean City or Bethany Beach or Virginia Beach, very English sounding names. So yeah, you are right. The name originates from Indian names. In 1671, there is a recorded history of a name which sounds very much like Chincoteague. And from there, most likely in the Indian language, this name means land across a body of water, a beautiful land across a body of water. So yeah, that's what we see everywhere, and that's where this name derives from. Both Chincoteague and Assateague have Indian origin names. Okay, we are hitting a couple of trails. Trails on this national refuge, wildlife refuge, are pretty easy. Right now we are on this trail called the Wildlife Trail. As the name suggests, this is our highest hope to see some wildlife, including a species of deer called sika, which you find here, which was also sort of feral. Group of people who had a petting zoo over here in like 1940s, 50s, they just left it when the petting zoo was over. That's how they came to be here. So hopefully we can see them along with some deer and foxes. We actually saw a deer and fox last night, but we could not photograph them. So hopefully we get lucky here. So that's a turtle, a very muddy turtle, which we found on a small pullover on the wildlife loop. We are on a hike number 2, and this is the Woodlands Trail, which takes you through a 1.6 mile loop through a series of pine trees. And we are on a specific spot of this, a section of this, which said Pony Overlook. So this is our last hope of seeing the ponies out in the wild a little better than what we saw yesterday. We did 20-25 minutes on this trail, to be honest, unless you just like a good walk, or you are a botanist and you really understand all the trees and plants. There is nothing else going on. There is nothing interesting going on this hike at all. So yeah, let's talk a little bit of the history, especially the Civil War history. So during Civil War, which Chincoteague is part of Virginia, and Virginia obviously seceded from the Union, Chincoteague was the only place which did not, and it stayed with the North. That's because there was no plantations or anything which needed slave over here. So the economy over here was completely based on shellfish, which they used to sell to New York City. So they had a lot closer ties to New York City and Philadelphia and the cities of Northeast than with the rest of the South. So that made a very unique sort of historical tidbit about this particular location, about Chincoteague. I found that very intriguing. There is a very cool museum over here which we wanted to visit, which had a lot of those historical artifacts around Civil War and some of the other history of this place. But unfortunately, that operates only up to Saturday till like 4 p.m. So we could not make it. But if you're out here, definitely go check it out, especially if you like history. The downtown of Chincoteague is small and quaint. It has a few interesting shops, some bookstores, some souvenir shops, some old movie theaters, and right next to that there is this beautiful waterfront park which gives you an amazing view of the causeway, which opened in 1922 and transformed the tourist industry of Chincoteague Island. And that's where I say goodbye from Chincoteague. It was awesome 3 days. Thanks for watching, and we'll catch you in the next one.